It's time for Stan the Fan, Chief Grand Poobah Man, and the Friday Baseball Show. Griffin Bass helps bring more class to the Friday Baseball Show. They'll talk best games, Dan Charles his name on the Friday Baseball Show. He's been in the owner's suite, he's been doing sports talk since 81. He's only lived in Baltimore for 45 years, but we'll give him a break on that, They'll acknowledge football, don't expect calls, it's the Friday Baseball Show. It's okay to say Glenn's back on Monday, but this is the Friday Baseball Show. The Friday Baseball Show. The Friday Baseball Show.
And it is that time, if you hear those dulcet tones of Chris
Erich. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. The dulcet tones of Chris Erich from the Friday Baseball Show. Stan the Fan, along with Griffin Bass, who brings some class,
Of course.
to the Friday Baseball Show. Orioles come back to town on I have to say, at the beginning when they left Baltimore to go to the West Coast for a 9-game swing to Seattle, Dodger Stadium, and the Big A in Anaheim, 4-5 wouldn't have seemed that horrible. After winning 1 out of 2 and 1 out of 3 in Seattle, it certainly seemed quite possible it would be a 4-5, even 3-6 trip. But then that Friday night, the gut-wrenching loss to the Dodgers, where what did we have in that game?
5-3.
5-3 lead.
It was 5-3
going into the ninth
But
inning.
like they were down 3-0, right? So like they came back, they scored 5 unanswered, and you have your, you thought your closer in, and
yep,
and and then they find a way to lose that one at 12:30 in the morning.
That one, I think after we lost that game and we were 1-3, it seemed like 4-5 would be pretty darn good. Somehow we pulled it together and won those last 2 games at Dodger Stadium and the first game against a bad Los Angeles Angels team. And we were suddenly sitting at 3-3. Right. We were sitting at 3-3.
Yes, 3 heading into Anaheim, on the road trip.
4-3 after the first game in Anaheim.
Correct.
4-3.
Yeah.
It looked to me, and I wrote a column about it Sunday night as part of my baseball power rankings, that I thought the Orioles would sweep the Angels and come back surprisingly with a 6-3 record. And not only did that not take place, the Orioles managed to turn.
He almost got no hit by something named Ryan Johnson,
right?
And then snatched the jaws of defeat, snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory, right?
Yeah.
Is that how?
That's what they did. That's what they did.
Yeah.
With that mystifying loss on
Wednesday.
Friday, on Wednesday in Anaheim. They're home for 3 against the White Sox, against the Nationals, and then 3 against the Chicago White Sox before going on a brief 3-game trip to Cincinnati and then coming back to finish up the first half with 3 against the Cubs and 3 against the Kansas City Royals. Griffin, forgetting everything that took place on the trip except Game 9, were you as mystified as I was that manager Craig Albernaz felt it was of the utmost importance to sort of get the bullpen reset in that game on Wednesday.
Yes, I was. Especially, I mean, you have a young pitcher who, I mean, by all accounts seems, I mean, obviously he's had a lot of bumps along the way here to start his career, but I mean, yeah, he's a young pitcher, and he, I mean, he was firing some of his best stuff we had seen over the last couple of weeks over the course of his
and what
major
would be
league
wrong
career.
with warming somebody up if you got this rested bullpen, warm somebody up and see how the fifth inning goes, and then maybe get him into the sixth inning when, for some inexplicable reason, you didn't see fit to use any of that bullpen on Monday night when you had a relief pitcher who had a meltdown on Friday night, and he doesn't come back into the game until Wednesday, and it's somehow, well, we had an overly rested bullpen, when you could have done something about that proactively on Monday or Tuesday night, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, right. Like, what were you, like, you were saving your bullpen Tuesday, like, Albert Suarez came in and ate a bunch of innings, and
right.
And so you were saving your bullpen in order to pull Trey Gibson. Like, if that, I mean, I guess if that was the plan, like Trey Gibson's cap was 4 innings no matter what.
Right.
Like then I guess we can't really complain. But yeah, like it just
made no sense. And I know everybody's going to say, well, but it really didn't matter because we won. We should have won the game.
Right.
Inexplicably,
and the
Pete
bullpen
Alonso
pitched,
wasn't covering the base.
Right, and the bullpen pitched well enough for the next 4 innings anyway until the 9th, or they pitched the next 3 innings until the 8th. And then they struggled in the 10th again.
Yeah.
But right. I mean, just none of it because maybe we should be like, do we need to go back to start attacking the process again? Because that was what Albernaz said. He said we had Wolfram up, like Wolfram was ready, and then we were seeing the lefties again in Anaheim's lineup. So that was why he was ready. We had the lefty ready. So that, but I mean, yeah, the guy was Trey Gibson looked
easily 2 more innings in that game, and
for sure
had. Is the Angel lineup so fearsome?
Right.
That
Zach
you
Neto
only
wasn't
could
playing.
Pitch Wolfram in the 5th inning. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't pass the smell test as a wise thing to have done. And I know we're looking at it from the perspective that we lost the game, but I think taking Gibson out put a lot of things in motion.
You needed everyone in the bullpen to kind of especially. I mean, maybe you couldn't have predicted the offense wasn't going to score another run.
And here's the other thing: I'm a big Andrew Kittredge fan from prior to his being a Baltimore Oriole. I've so wanted it to work out here, and 2 weeks ago, I thought it finally was peaking. You know that something positive was happening for Andrew Kittredge. But after his performance on Friday night, was that the right time to bring him in to get the last out of the 8th inning? What is so wrong if Ryan Helsley is so underworked that you had to plan to get him in that game? Why wasn't he the one brought in before the game was tied with 2 outs in the 8th inning? What would have been wrong with him getting a 4-out save?
Yeah.
That's not like suddenly, a stupid thing to conceive of.
Yeah,
And
I mean he is coming off of
Kittredge.
He's coming off the injury, I guess, and that's why maybe you don't want to push him to an inning plus. But I mean I Stan, I can't disagree. I'm just grasping at straws as well here, trying to be like maybe this.
I thought it was a very poorly handled.
Yeah, but I mean to your point, like it's just really we're saying all that like it's a very disappointing West Coast trip, and again, like to your point, yeah, if you had told us last week at this time that they were going to be 4-5 after this trip to the West Coast,
first 4 games, when we're 1-3, I'd say,
or even 1-2 against Seattle,
great.
yeah.
But they had a really good shot, in my opinion,
against a bad team,
against a bad team with the matchup of Boz versus Ryan Johnson, and then coming back with Trey Gibson, and he looked so good, and the club put up a nice offensive performance against Jose Siriano.
Right. And I get and I agree with you. Like you kind of looking at it going into the Anaheim series, it's like, yeah, this team should be 6-3 coming out of this little trip. But even if they had gone 5-4 and that Ryan Johnson game happened, it's like that kind of thing does happen. I mean, it's ridiculous that it feels like it always happens to the Orioles, that the guy with a 10+ ERA comes in and blanks them for 6
everybody's telling
innings.
me he's a bum. He's not a bum. He was a 74th pick in the draft 2 years ago. He was actually the first player of that draft to perform in the major leagues.
That's the thing Anaheim keeps doing. They've done that like the last 3 years. They just skyrocket. They just skyrocket guys. So. Well, but we say all that. They're 1.5 games out of the third wild card. And they got a 6-game homestand coming up against two teams that are they're overperforming, but they're beatable teams, and they've beaten. Well, they lost 2 out of 3 to Washington earlier, but they swept the White Sox in Chicago back in April, back when we thought the Orioles weren't playing very good baseball. So,
Washington is.
They can make us feel really good about them again.
Washington is 1-3 this week. The White Sox are 2-1. Coming into this weekend. So tonight it'll be Andrew Alvarez for the Nationals at 7:05 versus Trevor Rogers. Tomorrow night at 7:05 it'll be Foster Griffin versus Brandon Young. That's
kind of ace on ace there.
That is Gunnar Henderson bobble card night. Do you understand what a bobble card is?
I think they tried to explain it. They're just giving away a little trading card, I think, as well, like a baseball card, along with the bobblehead. So,
it looks like the bobblehead's in a box.
Yeah, I think it's a normal bobblehead.
I'm confused what a bobble card is. So we'll see.
So get there early tomorrow.
Zach Littell
in the rain.
You know better than I. What time for a 7:05 start on Saturday? Should people get there at 5 o'clock?
Probably, yeah. What was the last? The Tupac bobblehead was the last one.
This isn't as hot as the Tupac.
I don't think so. But for the Tupac one, my uncle bought the tickets, but he was like, "You got to get in line." So I got in line around like 4 o'clock for that, and we got it. We got it easily. Like, we got it pretty comfortably.
Okay.
I think people were still able to get the Tupac bobblehead by about 5:30 was the last time, because my buddy got there a little bit later than 5:45, and he missed it.
Because I'm sitting in the stands on Saturday night. We have company and I'm taking the husband, Dan, who's coming.
Your husband?
No, he's my wife's goddaughter's husband.
Gotcha.
Dan. And Sunday, by the way, Zach Littell is pitching against Kyle Bradish. Monday, Burke versus Boz at 6:35. Tuesday, Fetty versus 4-inning Gibson at 6:35.
Is that his new name?
And then that's his new nickname, 4-inning Gibson. I hear they printed up T-shirts.
Yeah, that's gonna be the T-shirt giveaway that's Wednesday. He's pitching.
Yeah. And then Wednesday,
or Tuesday,
it's an undecided pitcher for the White Sox versus Trevor Rogers. That game time 12:30.
To answer your question, I'd say 5:30. I think you'd be good, comfortable getting the Gunnar bobblehead. I think you definitely want to get there before 6. Bobble card. Sorry. Okay. Yes. Yeah. But also, I think the weather's not going to be very good tomorrow.
No, the weather's supposed to be very funky.
Yeah,
tomorrow, so
yeah. But since it's a bobblehead giveaway, that makes it seem like to me they're going to do probably whatever they can to get the game in and on time.
All right. Here's what we've got on the show. Joining us in about 10 minutes is Andy Kostka of the Baltimore Banner, doing a bang-up job as a beat reporter for the Orioles for the Baltimore Banner, BaltimoreBanner.com, thebanner.com. And then at 11, did you set it up for 11:50 or
20? 50. Yeah, 50.
11:50.
Yes.
Is Dave Lomonico, who authored the cover story Magic in the Booth, a profile of Kevin Brown and what makes him and his broadcast tick so amazingly well. It's called Magic in the Booth. Dave Lomonico, who penned that story, will join us at 11:50, and we'll take a look at this week in the rest of baseball, and we'll also take a quick glance at some movers up and down for the baseball power rankings, Stand the Fans baseball power rankings. Can't believe we're already on week 14 of a 27-week season. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, What should our expectations be for the Orioles at least over the next 3 days, maybe the next 6?
I honestly, I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. The one thing I would say is they've shown a lot of things through the first 80 plus games, but they've shown a surprising resilience that they're hanging in. And since the Tampa Bay sweep, what was that, about 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, in Tampa, when they got swept by Tampa,
right?
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay sweep by the Rays over the Orioles. The starting pitching has been very, very good.
Yeah,
and that's been, I think, the number 2 ERA in all the major
something
leagues.
Like that. They're like top 5 in most of those, starting pitching.
Prior to
stats.
That series, that sweep by Tampa in Tampa, the Orioles were 29th in ERA. And since then, for about 30 games now, they're like second, third, or fourth. They were second the other day before Vaz's proof.
Yeah, Glenn and I talked about it. Like, it's for every time the Orioles, Glenn Clark. You may, I'll introduce you.
I don't remember him.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, every time the Orioles have one of these like shocking, ridiculous, I can't believe it type of losses, they come back and they kind of either win really emphatically, or they come back and win like at least 2 in a row, sometimes 3 in a row.
I would say after Friday night's loss in Los Angeles,
it was like, this is the low point of the season.
I would say
blah.
that the chances of winning one more game in Los Angeles against the Dodgers,
under 10,
like 10%, something like that, and they won both of those games, including that blowout on Sunday.
Right, Rogers outpitched Yamamoto, like it was, like it's just it's so.
So you asked me what to expect. I wrote 10 days ago, or 12 days ago, that let's face it, the Orioles are what they are. Then I was so uplifted by the last 2 games at Dodger Stadium that I predicted that they would sweep the Angels and come back and get on a little bit of a run.
So maybe you need to keep predicting that they're going to get swept by everyone. Is that?
Yeah. Well, there's no question they're going to get swept by the Nationals.
Okay.
Right?
So all right.
No question.
So you're out. You're out on the team.
I'm out on the team. Okay. Yeah, I'm totally out.
Well, that's disappointing to hear.
Just kidding.
I hope they prove you wrong.
Just kidding. I'm not out, but I am mystified at some of the ways they choose to lose games.
That's a good way to put it.
And that is kind of mystifying. All right. We're going to find out what one Andy Kostka thinks about that from the Baltimore Banner.
Another thing we've been talking about
momentarily.
is obviously the trade deadline is getting closer and closer, and everyone's sharing their top 50 trade candidates. We've seen like Taylor Ward pop up, and I mean, obviously, if the Orioles remain, floating around this 5-6 game under kind of spot, I guess they kind of have to deal with Taylor Ward at some point. There's been like Yanier Cano's name has been mentioned. Ryan Helsley, I don't know what value he has.
They're so close to the wild card spot that I just don't see them being in a trade-off mode. But then again, that could change between now and the All-Star game, and now and the trade deadline. So those situations are. Why is Bruce Murray's name up there?
Stan, that's the behind the scenes thing. No one could see that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was.
You didn't need to mention that.
Jeez, why didn't you tell me that was behind the scenes?
Sorry, you're right. I should have told you.
But that is a topic we will talk with Andy Kostka of the Banner when we get him on. And do we have him on? All right, Andy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You didn't look like Bruce Murray to me, so I wasn't fooled. How was the West Coast trip for you?
Personally, long. Love Seattle. Always best summer weather in the country.
Yeah.
Dodger Stadium is great, and it's a good place to watch a baseball game. Angel Stadium is actually underrated. Once you're inside the ballpark, it's a pretty good ballpark.
Yeah.
So personally, it was fine.
Were you staying close to the 2 LA stadiums? Did you have to do much driving out there?
I did a little bit of driving. I stayed northeast of the Dodger Stadium in Glendale, if anyone's heard of that.
Yeah.
Good neighborhood near Atwater Village, which is my favorite of the LA neighborhoods after Culver City, which is technically its own city, actually. And then I stayed near Angel Stadium
Yeah.
after that. So I didn't have to do that much driving. No, it was pretty easy.
I was years ago. I was in L.A. and wanted to go to an Oriole game at the Big A, and had no idea it was like about an hour and 45 minutes to get there, and just get there in time. Even though we left at like about 5 o'clock from L.A., it was pretty amazing traffic out there. But you
Yeah.
didn't need me to. You didn't need me to tell you there was incredible traffic out there, Andy. Watching the team. Griffin and I, after Friday night's loss, we certainly wouldn't have been surprised with a 4-5 trip or even a 3-6 trip. But then when they won those last two games in at Dodger Stadium, I suddenly got very optimistic that the team was going to go into Anaheim and sweep a pretty poor Angels team, and they got kind of just the opposite. They won 1 out of 3 there. What do you make of the team now after the 4-5 trip? The way it unfolded.
I think of the team in actually probably the exact same way I thought of them before the trip. That there was reason to be optimistic about the starting rotation. That remained, barring Shane Baz 5 runs in 5 innings. Overall, the starting rotation did well. There is life to the lineup that isn't seen consistently enough, which is, no lineup is ever going to be perfectly consistent. I mean, it's just not the way baseball is, right? But when it's combined with a bullpen that is losing some of its steam from earlier this season, and it's combined with a defense that has execution issues, particularly late in games. It feels like when the magnifying glass is on them the closest. When you add all of those things up, it creates a team that's a little bit below 500, and they finished 4-5 on the road trip. I felt like it was a accurate reflection. If you don't think too much about winning the Dodgers series, and if you looked at it before going to the West Coast and you were told they went 4-5 on the West Coast, I think you understand that and say like that's probably a fair reflection of who they are. Because really what's one of the biggest issues is just they have pieces that can click, but they don't always click.
They don't always
And
click.
now we're seeing, on Sunday, or I forget what day, Wednesday, excuse me. You're seeing, Wednesday, some of the late inning arms, specifically Rico Garcia, who was fantastic to begin the year. He is less stout, so to speak, as he was at the beginning of the year. So you're seeing cracks, throughout that. Sometimes they line up perfectly, and the team has a 12-1 win at Dodger Stadium. And then a lot of times there's just not the altogether nature of the ball club that you need to win enough games. And here they are, 38-44, and to get to 86 wins, which, generally speaking, is what it takes to make a wild card. It might be fewer this year given how poor the American League is, but just using 86 as a benchmark,
They got to
they
win
have to
50
go on
more games. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a 600 winning percentage from here on over the last 80. So that's not an easy task by any means.
My big question about the last game: did you understand at all two significant pitching moves? The decision to pull Trey Gibson after 4. And then let me piggyback it on, you've still got, I understand the problems from Friday night in Los Angeles, and there's no way I would have let 4 days lapse between using him again. But if Helsley was going to come in for the 9th, what would have been wrong with bringing him in to get the last out in the 8th? If he's so underused, I have no idea why. And I'm still a big Kittredge fan, but the way he's pitched the last 2-3 times out, again, he's called into question his dependability. I didn't understand why you wouldn't go with a 4-out save from Helsley.
Yeah. Starting with the latter.
Yeah,
Actually, if you don't
let's
mind.
start with the latter.
Yeah, let's start with the latter. So that I asked about that. I actually asked it from
I
a
heard
frame of,
I heard a lot of your questions.
I actually asked it from a frame of, like, do you consider bringing him out for the 10th inning?
Right.
Which is something we obviously saw with
that was
Felix
the other
Bautista.
thought. Yeah.
You know, that, so those are the two sides. An 8-out save, you know, sorry, excuse me. A 4-out save coming in the 8th inning, you know, would have also made sense. And Albernaz, you know, said that it was the same logic to not bring him in the 8th as it was to not bring Helsley into the 10th. Was that because he is, you know, sort of still working his way back from the injured list. They didn't want to put that inning load on him in regard to the stop and start. So there is, I suppose there is a lot of more strain put on a relief pitcher when they have an up down.
Yeah.
And that time, you know, in the dugout of, you know, until they go out again. That's something that they're being a little cautious about. Hindsight is
Just 2020.
You know, 2020. So I think if you had a do-over, you would prefer Helsley in a 4-out save situation.
Yeah.
Because truly, I mean, Keegan got out of the 10th. Like, he's, you know, if a defensive play is made in the 10th, Keegan Aiken got out of it.
Yeah.
He dropped the ball. So he did not get out of it. But, you know, it's maybe less on the 10th inning not using Helsley there as it is the 8th inning. The first question about Trey Gibson, yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise given, you know, that he was at 66 pitches. I asked about that. You know, I'm taking him out there. Albernaz said the, you know, bullpen was fresh. They wanted a, you know, matchup game, you know, from then on. He managed it decently well until it, you know, the obviously not having Wolfram later in the game was a troublesome. Using him in the 5th, using him in a lefty pocket in the 5th makes sense. However, you're taking away probably your best lefty reliever at that point for later in the game, which is a little, you know, it's a little tricky. I would have liked to see Trey Gibson go farther in the game.
Yeah.
I think, you know, a lot of people would have. He had a great 1-2-3 inning in the 4th. He did walk 2 batters in the 3rd, and he gave up a, you know, 2-run homer in the 1st.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, part of you know, the calculus was, you know, Albernaz said that you know, he labored through the 1st inning, and, you know, he's going to be, you maybe want to avoid that matchup again. Possible. But it was definitely a interesting decision, considering the fact that he was at 66 pitches, and I recognize the bullpen is fresh, but it's the Angels and you have a 5-2 lead. I think you probably should feel a little bit more confident in letting Trey Gibson ride a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if it's only through 5.
Yeah.
So that's my short answer, I
All
suppose,
right.
which was still kind of long.
Griff? Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I feel like we could deliberate Wednesday for the rest of the day if we wanted to. But I guess I wanted to ask you about the 2 guys who kind of shined over the road trip, Andy, and that was Bradish and Rogers, and we'll see Rogers again tonight. what did you make of I mean, just the how well those two pitched over the last week and a half, and do you think can we? I mean, maybe they won't ever let up a run again, but I mean, can we expect them to be able to go deeper into games and continue to give quality starts for the O's moving forward?
Yeah, I thought it was incredibly impressive. I'd be remiss if I didn't excuse me. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Samuel Basallo did a great job as behind the plate for them. I'm just thinking about the Rogers start. Um, that would have been 7 scoreless innings from Rogers on Saturday at Dodger Stadium, and Basallo really helped with 2 ball to strike overturn challenges. So it was a really good behind the plate performance from Basallo as well, and Trevor Rogers gave a lot of credit to the young man. As for yeah, they're going to allow runs again. Obviously, we know that, but it was definitely a promising showcase from both of them. What Rogers did well in that game was that he had his fastball command. He actually had like a little extra oomph on the fastball as well, which doesn't hurt. But when he's commanding the fastball as well, he does pinpointing areas on the outside of the zone or on the edge of the zone, excuse me. It sets up the rest of his pitches. He can get some chase, which he's not really a swing and miss pitcher by nature, but he was able to do it against the Dodgers more frequently than he has. He doesn't need to be a swing and miss pitcher when his locations are as good as they tend to be or they can be. He can have a lot of weak contact, which is probably the best outcome for Trevor Rogers. For Kyle Bradish, in Seattle and in LA, he looked he's one of the best pitchers in the game when he is on fire like that. That's an incredibly encouraging sign that he was able to work as deeply as he did. I guess that was Monday in Anaheim. I'm kind of blurring a little bit, but I think before the season there was a lot of talk on an innings limit or pitch count limits because he was coming off of Tommy John surgery. At this point, Albert said that they're mostly just asking Bradish how he's feeling and trusting that he's a veteran enough and understands his body well enough that he's not going to overexert himself or kind of have this. Sometimes pitchers just want to pitch forever, but Bradish, I think, understands at this point of his career and what he's gone through, recovery wise, what he can and can't, when he can and can't pitch, and he knows when to draw the line. So 8 innings were fantastic. Do we see him pitch 8 innings the rest of the year? Probably not. At some point, they might want to give him a shorter start just to kind of even out that innings load. But right now, things are looking great for him, and definitely those two are a bright spot. A couple, there's a couple bright spots, with the team. I mean, I think what Basallo did at the plate, he, had a kind of a weird week, without, out of the starting lineup earlier this month for 3 straight days for reasons that are still rather unclear. But he is, I think, really shown a lot of oomph at the plate, and he's doing a great job behind the plate right now. The error between him and O'Neill, obviously O'Neill's charged with the error, but
right.
There's a lot of blame that can be thrown around, with the Helsley walks, at Dodger Stadium, things like that. There's a lot of blame that can go around. I'm sure he wants that play back. But on the whole, I liked what Basallo did as well.
Let me ask you a question involving Tyler O'Neill. If Dylan Beavers is back, let's say, I'm just throwing it out, you may know something that he's closer, but let's just say he's back Monday. Does the club just simply move Trump off the roster, or do you think there's a real chance that Beavers' swap would be with O'Neill being DFA'd or moved in some way, shape, or form? Or do you think that that's just too sort of risky for Mike Elias right now to go to ownership and say, hey, it's time to buy out this contract?
It would be a waving of the white flag on the biggest free agent, contract, obviously before Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
For Mike Elias to do that, might not be the best look, but we're getting to a point certainly where it has to be. We're past the point really that it has to be considered. As for when Dylan Beavers comes back, I'm not sure an exact timetable of when that's occurring. I'd probably look at, Monday or Tuesday next week as realistic.
Yeah.
But I think I'm more on the train of they would knock one catcher off the roster
Yeah.
and play it that way. And go with, Sam Huff and Basayo. And then when Adley is ready from the concussion, which is a very tricky thing to come back from. So
Yeah.
I have no idea technically he's available to come back today.
Right. He's not coming back today.
I doubt he's coming back today. It's something that they're gonna have to really monitor, and concussion recoveries are not always linear, so that want to see multiple days of no symptoms and things like that.
Yeah.
So eventually, probably be Basayo and Rushman as the two catchers, and you just run with two catchers, and then you have five outfielders like they did at the beginning of the year. They had that's what they had five outfielders and two catchers at the beginning of the year.
And what do you see happening when Kramer is ready, and when might that be? Is that two more starts down at Norfolk?
Yeah, I would guess probably two more.
So probably the weekend they're in Cincinnati, or right when the Cubs come to town.
Yeah, let's throw a dart early July.
Okay.
We'll say somewhere in there.
And is that just a trade-off of Gibson going back to the minors, or do you see there's a chance there'd be six starters?
The easiest move from a roster building perspective is to option Trey Gibson to the minors.
Four inning Gibson, I call him.
So that would be the easiest move. But a six-man isn't out of the question. In fact, Rich Dubroff asked Craig Albernaz the other day about a possible six-man rotation, and Craig said, that conversations hadn't really started around that. Probably because it's not super close yet. There's still one or two starts probably for Kramer. But that everything is on the table, which is probably fair. They're probably weighing the positives and minuses of a six-man rotation. I'm usually not a advocate of a six-man rotation generally.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna roll with one fewer bullpen arm. And if Kyle Bradish is healthy and can do the innings load, I want to see him every fifth day. If you're Baltimore, you want him on the mound every fifth day. You don't necessarily want to stretch him out unless there is considerations about watching his innings. If you are watching Kyle Bradish's innings, a six-man rotation could be beneficial actually in that, just giving him an extra day rest each time.
We're talking with Andy Kostka of the Banner.com, the Baltimore Banner. Griffin has a question. I've got one more for you, and we'll let you get out of here.
I don't want to ask. Mine's gonna be might be too open ended, Andy. But we've been Glenn and I've been discussing the thoughts of an Adley Rutschman trade, and if this season does not get back on track, if they want to avoid being in a position of where they were with Manny Machado in 2018, where they end up having to sell him next year as a rental. Is there where do you stand on that kind of thought process of would now in 2026 before the end of this season to deal Adley Rutschman? Would that be, assuming health, of course, would that be something that they should consider?
No.
Okay.
I think that would send the wrong message to the fan base. You would be waving a white flag and saying that the guy that you drafted first overall to get Baltimore back into, eventually get Baltimore out of a massive rebuild. You're waving the white flag if you trade Adley Rutschman. Look at an extension instead. Now's a obviously he's injured. He won't be, injured forever. His numbers are back to where you would expect him to be. He's showing, a lot of good stuff at the plate. So I just think moving on from Adley Rutschman would be a pretty cataclysmic error. That's my short answer. I can talk longer if you need me.
No,
you're good.
No, that's a good answer. My question has to do with the trade deadline, and obviously we've got a month to go. Well, more than a month. It's August 3rd this year, and a lot of iterations can happen in between now and then. Do you see the club? The names that I keep hearing are Ward and Rogers. To me, Rogers is a very important building piece for this team moving forward. And he was interesting, his post-game comments where he talked about Basayo, and he hopes to be paired with him over the years. He used the term years. I think Trevor Rogers likes it here in Baltimore, and he's had his best run. Do you foresee him being a member of this team moving forward?
I'm trying to figure out how to answer that. Yes and no, which is a cop out. I'll just go with both. I'll go with both. Yes, because I do think if he, continues what he's been able to do of late, Baltimore obviously believes highly in him. Trevor Rogers really likes it here. He's made so many comments, including at Dodger Stadium, about wanting to be here. He has not been, last time, I spoke to him about it, he hasn't been approached about, a contract extension. That's probably something that will be done in the offseason, just given the time of year it is. Generally those are discussed in spring training. And they don't necessarily do those discussions during the middle of the season, generally speaking. I could definitely see Trevor Rogers being a continued member of this rotation. Okay. No is the other answer, because if this team is out of it at the trade deadline, which I know it's exhausting to say. I'm exhausted by saying it. Like, they're not out of it, right. and they haven't played well, but the rest of the American League hasn't played well, and that's not something to really hang your hat on. So you have to start playing better. But just the reality, you look at the wild card, they could definitely be buyers at the deadline. If you're only 1.5 back, as the deadline approaches, it makes sense to be a buyer. But if they fall farther away, it would make sense if you have a rental player such as Rogers or Taylor Ward to listen to those offers. It would make sense to do that. And Mike Elias in the front office, they always listen. Even if I'm sure they're going to listen on Adley Rutschman, doesn't mean they're going to trade Adley Rutschman. No. But if somebody says, here's Paul Skeens for Adley Rutschman, you would be an idiot not to say, yeah, sounds good. So like that's why you listen as a front office. Doesn't mean they're going to trade them. But if this team is farther out of it, I'll say, like, if they're 6 games back of the wild card, honestly, it could be fewer than that if there's enough teams between them and the wild card. That seems like a situation where you might want to trade.
All right, Andy Kostka of the Baltimore Banner, thebanner.com. Thank you very much for your time. You continue to do an amazing job. Thank you, Andy.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
All
Andy.
right. We're going to take a timeout. When we get back, Dave Lomonico will join us to talk about his cover story, Magic in the Booth. Kevin Brown, the Orioles play-by-play voice for the past 7 years.
Should shout out countysports.zone as well for all the high school sports fans out there. If you happened to miss any of the spring championships, they've got all that info for you. Every sport, every county. every school.
Do
over
they have
at
the
County
news
Sports.
that Carlos Mendoza was fired by the Mets?
Maybe. I mean, if they will, let's say if there's a local baseball team looking for a new coach, maybe even a softball team looking for a new coach, and they reach out to Carlos Mendoza, and he signs up.
accepts.
Yeah, you want to head right over to countysports.zone, and they will have all the latest on Carlos Mendoza coming to Broadneck High School or something.
And that Andy Green is the new manager of the Mets.
They don't care about that. No, they don't care about
that.
that. You won't find that there.
Okay.
You won't find that there.
Okay.
Powered by BioToyota.com as well. CountySports.zone.
The stars are shining brighter at Live Casino this summer. Celebrate America's 250th with $1 million. Earn entries daily July 1st through August 29th and snap a pic with our game board for a chance to win $100 in free play every week. We'll draw 50 free play winners each Saturday and $1 million winner on August 29th. Light it up at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Hi, my name's Colton Cowser, outfitter for the Baltimore Orioles, and you're listening to Griffin Bass, Stan the Fan Charles on the Baseball Show. Let's keep it moving along.
All right, Stan the Fan back here with Griffin Bass, who brings some class to the show. By the way, some sad news in the music world. And this was weird. Yesterday in the morning, I saw this story that David Clayton Thomas was still alive. It was refuting these rumors that he had passed away. And then later in the day, he passed away. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Headlines killing people. Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears singer David Clayton Thomas dies at 84. Grammy Award-winning vocalist passed away peacefully on Wednesday at his Toronto home.
So is that someone I need to educate myself on, David Clayton?
David Clayton Thomas.
David Clayton Thomas. I'm not familiar with his.
When I'm gone.
That's him?
Yeah.
That sounds like is that him? Was that him in the room with us?
Yep.
You do
I conjured
a spot
him up.
on.
I conjured him up.
All right.
Dave Lomonico going to join us momentarily. He is the man behind the Terrapin Times, and he used to be an assistant editor with us here at PressBox. And I thought of him as somebody who would do a good job on the Kevin Brown story, and he did a great job. Magic in the Booth is the title of the story, and it's a profile of Kevin Brown. 7 years in the booth and going strong.
While we have a minute, Stan, I guess, how do you feel about the Adley Rutschman trade kind of conversation that Glenn and I have been trying to conjure up over the last week? It's a very deep discussion, I feel like.
I just got a text. He's going to be on it momentarily.
Okay.
He's on the highway.
Oh,
so
okay.
he's going to pull over, and we'll talk to him on the highway.
All right, cool. Sounds
good. Okay. He didn't make mention of that. What do I think about the Adley Rutschman deal? I tend to think along the lines with Andy Kostka on him that they will somehow work out an extension.
I mean, I would hope so.
I hope it's not. From a fan perspective, I hope it's not a 5 or 7 year deal. I think a 3-year with a 4th-year option and buyout.
Do you think he would go for that? Like, what are the Yankees willing to give him? What are another catcher needy team? What are the Phillies willing to give him?
I don't know.
Are they going to be willing to give a catcher a 5-6 year contract?
I'm not going to let the other teams sitting there with Basayo. Now again, this is interesting because he is a free agent at the end of this season. I'm not going to let what the other couple teams are going to pay him dictate the length of contract I'm willing to go.
He's under contract through.
He's under contract for 1 year more. One more year.
Which is why we brought this up because we look at the Manny thing, and you traded Manny for nothing. I mean, they got
differences.
But he wasn't supposed to be.
There are a couple differences. Number one, Manny never had a year and a half as poor.
Okay.
Now he's having one now, but that was the Padres giving him 13 years.
But right, we're talking about prime Manny Machado.
Yeah, prime Manny Machado never had given you a hint. The only hint of problem with him were those knee operations he had by Neil Elatrage. He had both knees done separately, but so there was never any doubt. I also think you have to look at he's had two IL stints this year. Now, clearly, the one getting hit in the head was not his fault
fluky.
at all.
Right.
But you question he's not a guy that's going to play 150 games or 140 games. He's going to miss 25, 30 games a year. I'm not of an appetite of 5-6 years for Adley Rutschman.
So then the other part of that then is don't deal him, they hold him. They
can also deal him this off season.
Okay,
which
maybe
still gives the team a year of control before they have to absolutely.
So I guess where I'm standing at this point is if they're gonna hold him, then they need to go more all in, and obviously Pete Alonso was a good step in that direction. But there are still rotational holes on this team, and we're still arguing about a guy taking a pitcher out after 4 innings when he looked relatively good.
Yeah.
Like if you go out and get a Joe Ryan or sign a Robbie Ray or you and. Joe Ryan still has a little. I think he has 2 more years of control. Maybe even a Reed Detmers. That kind of thing. Your guy. But
I don't see the Angels
trying to add.
I don't see the Angels having so many starting pitchers that they're going to give up Reed Detmers for a song.
Yeah.
They're going to want real. I don't see Detmers. I mean, there's a team that will get like the Cubs right now. Would probably give up as much as anybody. They just made a trade for David Peterson.
Right.
They're amazing to me, the Cubs this year, what they've gone through with their pitching staff.
Yeah, I think Matt Boyd is he coming back?
He came back yesterday. He pitched 4 1/3 innings, but they had to trade for David Peterson. They lost Ben Brown now, and they lost Edwin Cabrera. So, I mean, they're really at the bare bones. So, you talk about a team that might give up something of significance for Reed Detmers. That would be the team I would choose.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't see the Orioles acquiring Detmers.
Well, I mean, unless and that's kind of the point, kind of the way I don't know. I'm trying to find a more elegant way, I guess, to say it. But right, like, how do they commit to going all in for? Maybe is it too late to go all in on 2026? I mean, the American League is wide open, but but into 2026 and 2027, while you have an Adley Rutschman on your team, even if you can't re-sign him, even if Joe Mauer once upon a time got 8 years, if the Yankees go to him with an 8-year contract, why would he turn that down? Like,
yeah. Well, that would be up to him to sign an 8-year contract. I don't see the Yankees offering him an 8-year contract either right now, especially in light of the fact that MLB is trying to pull this 5-year maximum free agent contract.
We'll get to that in this week in
the rest of baseball.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, that's it's. So you want to see them make a strong effort to bring Adley back?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I would just not trade him.
You would just hold.
I would.
So what if they don't do anything of significance at all this offseason, and they roll out kind of this same team?
Whoa! You're talking about vastly different things. We're talking about you and Glenn. We're talking about trading Adley now, and I'm suggesting that they're not going to trade him now. That the time that they would consider that would be as they remake, seeing how this team evolves over the rest of this year and seeing what they feel like they need to do. I'm convinced I don't have a major problem with Sam Basayo being the guy to catch 120 games,
Right. Is he capable of doing that? Sure.
Yeah. I think he's as capable as Adley Rutschman is of doing that,
Right. And I mean, especially at while he's 21 years old, like, this is the time to do it and find out. I mean,
he's the one under contract.
The thing that
now.
makes it so and the thing that makes it so tough is, I think, just they do hold him through 2026, and then they start exploring more trades in November and December. But is anyone going to be willing to do business at that point if we don't know what a 2027 baseball season looks like? Like, how does that impact his trade value? What kind of things you can get in return? Because he would still. I mean, unless you're sending him to the Phillies and they're going to be willing to lock him down after they make the trade for him.
Well, I think if the Giants or the Phillies,
sure.
One of those two teams or the Yankees dealt. Although I don't see us dealing him to the Yankees.
Right.
I think the Phillies or the Giants would be probably the two teams most likely to make a play for him. I think teams have to approach it like there's going to be a baseball season. I don't think you sit there and go, well, I don't want to trade for Adley Rutschman. We won't re-sign. Is Real Muto just on a 1-year deal? I think he signed a 2-year deal.
Is it 2? He's obviously getting old fast, which is why I keep bringing up the Phillies. He signed, it was a 3-year, $45 million. So he's getting 15 a year, 3 years.
So they're not that desperate.
No, they're not. Right. They're not too desperate.
But looks like we've got Dave Lomonico is on the horn with us. Dave Lomonico, are you there?
Oh, are you on mute, Dave?
You're on mute, Dave?
Might have you on mute, Dave.
You might be on mute.
Yep, I got you.
There we go.
All right. Are you pulled over safely?
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. Dave, first of all, you did a terrific job. Tell everybody what your day job is. So give it a plug with Terrapin Times.
Right. I cover University of Maryland for Terrapin Times, football recruiting, basketball recruiting, and then the football and basketball team as well. So that's sort of I'm in College Park a whole lot. So
how's the basketball team looking?
Basketball team's looking a lot better than football. I'll tell you that. Not going to make any predictions this year just because of what happened last year, but brought in a lot of key transfers and team's looking pretty solid right now. So
okay, let me throw you one more curveball. Is Coach Loxley safe, or is he Is he facing an awful lot of scrutiny in the hot seat this year?
Yeah, we hope he's not safe. Jeez,
Yeah.
I mean, if they had enough money, he would have been gone a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they don't turn it around or have a major, not just 6-6 in a bowl game, but if they don't have a really surprising season, I mean, he would have been out last year, but they didn't have the money for the buyout.
Okay.
So yeah, it's unless they can pull off a miracle here, it doesn't look that great unless they run out of money again and can't buy out the last year of his contract.
All right.
So that's sort of how it's looking there.
All right. Let's deal with something a little more pleasant that doesn't depend upon wins and losses, because Kevin Brown, the subject of your cover story for us, Magic in the Booth, he doesn't depend on wins and losses. He sort of wins most nights, doesn't he?
Yeah. He does a great job. He's a joy to listen to for anybody that can sit through the games these days. But yeah, he pulls out a lot of great vocabulary. He has a great rapport with Ben McDonald and Jim Palmer as co-hosts, and it was a really interesting guy to talk to. Very funny. Incredibly intelligent, and does a great job at his craft, works very hard at it. So, and I really enjoy talking to him, and I think that it came out pretty well in the piece, like what kind of a person he is, and just the amount of time he puts into the craft, and just how his delivery and his style as well.
I thought you did a terrific job, starting with the story about last year's game on September 6th. I thought it was just really nicely put together. What did you find out about Kevin that you may not have known?
But I didn't know a whole lot about his background until I talked to him, like how he came up through the Syracuse journalism school, and sort of I really didn't know. He just sort of popped up on our radars one day. He was just in the booth calling games, I just remember. So I really didn't know much where he came from. So just getting into the whole background of that whole thing, with him talking about Syracuse and working in the minor leagues with Joe Benetti, who's now the play-by-play man for the Detroit Tigers. That was just really interesting just to hear that. And his stories about growing up through the broadcasting industry was the main things that I didn't really know.
Okay.
What kind of stuck out most about Kevin, and maybe like somewhat about his process? Because I mean, it is a great kind of a great subject for a cover story, because everyone has kind of gotten more Orioles fever over the last few years. Obviously, especially in 2023 and 2024 when the team was really good, and feels like we've gotten to know Kevin really, really well just because we spend almost every night with him over the summer. Spending time with him. But like, what is it about his process that you think makes him such an effective play-by-play announcer?
Well, with like a lot of these major broadcasters, I think they all sort of put in the work. You have to, or you're going to come off looking like a fool. If you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, these guys get fed stats and things like that, obviously, but he puts in a lot of work in terms of not just studying the team and the opposing team and things like that, but just maybe his studying like language and his ability to command words. He puts a lot of time into that, just describing how just the amount he reads and just pays attention to other broadcasters and sort of picks up things that way, and then can incorporate it into his own sort of style. That sort of stands out in a way. But they all put in the work. I mean, they're anybody that's doing this at the major league level is going to be researching. So, and he definitely does that. I mean, he's there every day on the field talking to guys, trying to get insight that he can sort of put on the broadcast that maybe isn't well known, maybe just by talking to one of the coaches or something like that on the side, and he'll sort of finagle that into a broadcast. And a lot of guys do that, and he's no different in that respect.
I thought the quote you got out of Palmer, the long quote, where he says it's like going on a 300-mile like kind of cross country trip with him, that he's so prepared for any eventuality. I thought that was a great quote.
Yeah, it was funny talking to Jim. This didn't go in there, but Jim didn't want me to blow him up too much. He's like, don't blow his ego up too much. So he went on for about a half an hour, but then told me I couldn't use any of the quotes because because it would make him look too good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a great storyteller. I know that's sort of a cliche term to call announcers storytellers, but Kevin really does a good job of sort of bringing the average fan in and cueing them into the game, so it's not too analytical, but also keeping them entertained with his humor and his sense of style, and very conversational style. And I think that's what Jim was trying to get across there.
With an ego the size that Kevin has, and while he while he tamps it down, in other words, he doesn't overdo it, but he's got a big ego. You touched on that story about what happened when he was sort of critical of the team versus Tampa a few years ago. I thought it was important that you touched on that. But with somebody who's as good as he is, does it surprise you that there was no lingering resentment to the club sort of suspending him for those 3 weeks there?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, if I was in that situation, I might have a look, and maybe there is something like that if there's a underlying that he doesn't let out.
Yeah.
I know if I was in that situation, I might be a little ticked off just knowing how, I mean, he really didn't do anything wrong at all.
Right.
And that whole story, I know it's come out what sort of happened there, and we won't get into all that, but me personally, I probably would. But if he does, he's covered it up pretty well.
And from the
Yeah.
club's perspective, you spoke to Mark Fine, who's the chief marketing officer. I think the club and he have a really good working relationship right now.
Yeah. They love the guy. They like to use him in a variety of ways. They've used him for on-field ceremonies. They've used him for PR events off the field that the Orioles do and things like that. So he's sort of been a jack of all trades for them, and has been really effective. And he's really engaging just with fans and just the way his style and things. And I think that the team really appreciates that.
Dave, you were talking about obviously his rise from the minors and obviously now with the Orioles. And one thing I'm getting nervous about is as he gets more and more national exposure. Do you think we need to be worried about Kevin taking more of a major role at a big time like Fox or something? And he obviously does the College World Series, the Women's Softball World Series. Should we be worried about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you never know. I mean, that can obviously happen. I mean, well, John Miller had a falling out and things like that, but that happened with that there back in the day. You never say never with that kind of thing. I mean, broadcast industry, media industry in general, people move around like crazy all the time. So I know that he enjoys it here. He likes it here, and says he wants to stay here, but you never know if somebody's going to throw a ton of money at him. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
so,
and those networks don't have games every night, so he could do 4 nights a week for Baltimore for many years to come. Even if he did something on Fox or something.
Right.
Yeah. We're talking with Dave Lomonico, who's penned the story Magic in the Booth, the cover story about Kevin Brown, the Orioles play-by-play voice on Masson, and he's been with the club for 7 years. Before we let you go, Dave, wanted to touch on one thing. I get a lot of criticism of Kevin by older people, and I'm 74. I'm talking about people that are even a little older than me over the stat thing, the usage, the usage of so many stats and modern baseball terminology. They sort of long for Chuck Thompson or something like that. You dealt with that in the story, and he's cognizant of the fact that he tries not to overdo it.
Yeah, I think that's a little get off my lawn type of deal there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, he really doesn't. I mean, there's other guys. I've listened to other announcers that do way more. I mean, he doesn't sit there and talk about F-WAR and spin rate all day long and things like that. He'll mention it from time to time, but compared to other announcers and the people that have complained and gotten criticism probably haven't listened to some of the other guys that really delve into it. He does a pretty good job. All things considered, of using the Chuck Thompson style and weaving it in with the stats. I mean, it's not, you know, you can't please everybody. You got to give some stats. You got to. I mean, it's not all. You can't just sit there and just talk about batting average all day. I mean, the modern fan wants to hear about OPS and a little more of that. So you got to throw that in there. Not all the time, but you got to give a little bit of that, or you're going to be behind the times here. So
he's 36 years old, Dave. Have we heard the best of Kevin Brown yet? Or is he still?
No, he's still developed. He even said that himself. I'm not sure. Not all the quotes made it in, but when I talked to him for a solid hour or more, and he was even saying how he's still developing. He still goes back over his old tapes and thinks about calls that he messed up on and things like that, and things that he could do better. That's always going to come with more and more experience, and even experienced announcers are always going to slip up. You're live on the air, for God's sake. So, I mean, things happen.
I've never done that, Dave. I've never done that. Hey, thank you for doing the story. Thank you for coming on to talk about it. And we'll look forward to working with you in the future, okay?
Sure. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Dave Lomonico, get a chance to read it or go to PressBoxOnline.com and read it. Magic in the Booth. All right, we're going to take a timeout. And what do you need to say?
I want to shout out Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Stan, if that's all right, because Sports and Social is one of the best places to be for the big old soccer tournament everyone's watching right now. Join us.
Which tournament is that?
The big one, that has all the
what
teams.
They call it the big one?
The big tournament. Join us at Sports and Social, Stan, on Wednesday, July 1st. We can't say that, Stan.
Oh, we can't even.
On Wednesday, July 1st, as Team USA takes on another country, Bosnia and Herzegovina, in the field of round in the round of 32.
Bosnia or Herzegovina?
We're playing both, which it's a little
we play
shaky.
Two teams at once.
Anyway, head to Sports and Social, Stand, because you can win your share of $2,000 in cash and prizes throughout the match, and plus one $500 prize to the #1 fan. Show up in your best USA gear for a chance to be crowned the Sports and Social #1 fan. Take home $500 cash, Stan. So if you get decked out in all your USA gear.
How are we allowed to refer to it? The big matches?
Stan, I'm still reading something here.
Okay.
Watch every minute of the action on our massive 100-foot media wall while enjoying game day food and drink specials in the ultimate soccer watch party atmosphere. Reserve your table today through Open Table, and don't miss the biggest Team USA watch party around. Sports and Social Maryland, the restaurant at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland in Hanover, MD. Stan.
So we just say the big matches.
Oh, yeah. You excited for the World Cup? You're excited for everything that?
I can't say that.
No, you can. Well, we can say it now.
The
knockout. So USA is into the knockout stage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about the World Cup now.
Did you watch last night's game?
Yes,
against
I did.
Turkey.
Yeah,
Turkey. It was a little disappointing, but
one of the things that bothers me seriously, I think they do overall. They do this terrific job. When I turn on a game, do you automatically know which team is which?
Well, yeah, because I'm smart, but yeah.
Like last night, I'm looking and I'm going, well, I know the U.S. wouldn't wear black, so I said they must be in the white. And then all of a sudden, I see the guy from Turkey makes a save, and I see the
little badge,
his little badge,
whatever the Turkey.
I think they do a horseshit job of that. Seriously. Yeah.
So the scorebug usually has. I mean, you're right. Maybe it's not quite as obvious, but there's like a little outline.
It has their little flag.
It has like an outline of like the Turkey one was. I think were they white yesterday? Yeah, they were white yet last night.
Yeah, they were white.
So like there was like a little white outline. So if it said TUR on this side of the scorebug, and then it said USA on this side. There was like a blue outline,
and there was
like a white outline.
There's
here.
Nothing logical that tells.
And if you watch the Norway game, then like it was like a red outline because they were wearing red.
I'm.
And if you were watching the Bosnia game, I think they were wearing yellow. No, maybe they were wearing navy. I can't remember. You know, if Ecuador was wearing yellow yesterday, so there was like a yellow outline.
They put a color inside the logo.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
Then the goalies.
I'm not going to say you're wrong, Stan.
The goalies. Why do they? It's like an arbitrary
color
that they have.
So you know that they're the ones allowed to grab the football.
I understand that they shouldn't wear the same.
Oh, okay.
But they just like
a
random
pink
colors.
or purple or
it's like
yeah. So that way you're not getting confused, and then the ref also has to have a different color.
Okay, all right. I mean, give the guy the same color shorts. How about if he wore shorts that were the same color?
No.
And
He should. What makes the most sense is to wear a pink, long sleeve, and then green shorts when your team is wearing yellow. Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah. Okay. If you say so. All right, we're going to be back with This Week in the Rest of Baseball after these commercial words. This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, and you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
The stars are shining brighter at Live Casino this summer. Celebrate America's 250th with $1 million. Earn entries daily July 1st through August 29th and snap a pic with our game board for a chance to win $100 in free play every week. We'll draw 50 free play winners each Saturday and $1 million winner on August 29th. Light it up at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Dave Lomonico profiles Orioles play-by-play voice Kevin Brown, looking at his rise as an amiable mainstay and one of the top voices in all of baseball. Also inside, Antonio Barbera looks at whether the championship window is narrowing for the Ravens veteran core, and our special travel section with a look at sports tourism options throughout Maryland for you and your family to enjoy this summer. PressBox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Hi, everyone. There's nothing I love more than hearing Stan the Fan and Griffin talk baseball. Here they are.
We are back with the rest of the show.
Okay.
The rest of the
what
show.
show is this?
This is the Friday Baseball Show
right.
with Stan the Fan and Griffin Bass. This Week in Baseball is brought to you by...
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
This week
in the rest of
baseball.
All right, Stan, we got another week of baseball in the books, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of stuff happened. Most recently, this morning, like in a couple hours ago, Carlos Mendoza, former manager, I should say, of the New York Mets.
Has he signed that deal with Howard County?
Mendoza, shit canned.
Yeah, shit canned.
Yeah, they tossed him
You can
aside.
say that on here.
I know. Well, you said horse shit, so I was like, yeah, you know what? I was thinking about. I was like, do I?
He was shit canned.
Yeah, he was. Mets are 34-47, and they just got absolutely rocked by the Cubs and Dansby Swanson. Dansby Swanson, by the way, had a 15 RBI in the first 3 games of that series.
And he went into the series, I think, hitting 190.
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like
I think
that.
it might have even been lower than that. He was awful.
So
He's
clearly
still not having. He's still not having a
clearly
good
Carlos
season.
Mendoza's
Right,
fault,
exactly.
not David Stern's fault.
Correct. I mean, he did sign. I mean, you sign Juan Soto and Bo Bichette and Freddie. You trade for Freddie Peralta, and I mean, nobody.
And Luis Robert. That was a great signing.
Nobody is having a good year if you are in a Mets uniform this year. Nolan
Pete
McClain.
Alonso is.
Oh yeah. Did you see they were chanting Pete Alonso
I
at
heard
the game
about
the other
that.
night? And so I was gonna play as on SNY. They kind of did a they summarized basically Gary Cohen and the broadcast did a good job basically kind of summarizing everything that happened. This was on Wednesday night. So they lost again yesterday in extra innings, of course. They got swept by. Did they get swept? Yeah, they got swept.
They got swept in 4 games by the Cubs, including a doubleheader.
So this
in
was
the middle.
Wednesday's game, and they're going to commit another error, and basically Gary Cohen's just going to kind of rightfully so, kind of lose his mind.
Coming to Kelly, and he hits it sharply at Vientos, and he boots it for yet another error. Unbelievable. The 6th infield error for the Mets tonight.
I'll tell you one thing, they make the Orioles look good.
Second for Vientos. And that puts runners at first and third.
Kelly with ground ball. Gets to Vientos' right. It looked like he wasn't sure whether to backhand it or play it straight up. I think that ball hit him in the knee.
I mean, what do you say at this point? I mean, this team is in the depths of despair. Can't get starting pitching to hold the other team at bay. Struggling with their offense. And now the defense falls apart. 6 infield errors. Unprecedented.
So that was Wednesday night for the Mets. That was kind of, I guess they probably would have thought that was their rock bottom. They lose again last night, so it's just not good. 6 errors.
One player on all these lists who will get traded is Freddie Peralta.
He will.
He's been awful.
I mean, so why would anyone trade for him? I mean, I guess
Because
take a flyer, but what are you getting for him? Are you getting anything for him?
Like the Cubs would trade for him. I guarantee you the Cubs would trade for him.
Last time Mets had a game with 6 errors. You probably remember. You were there, I bet.
1962.
Yeah, you saw the stat. You had to have seen the
No,
stat.
I've just
you knew
that was their first year. They were horrible.
Yeah, it was 1962, courtesy of Bob Nightingale. Last time the Mets had 6 errors, and every infielder on Wednesday night had an error that night. That was
when Casey Stengel was managing the Mets.
Oh, okay, nice, good pull, Stan. Couldn't pull any 1962 Mets, So yeah, well done. Andy Green takes over. He was formerly
with the San Diego Padres.
So he is the new interim manager for the Mets, and I don't really know where they go from here. I mean, it was kind of weird that they had stuck it out with Mendoza for so long after we had seen the Phillies and the Red Sox kind of go ahead and pull the trigger early in the season.
I'm so far removed from knowing who the new who the hot candidates are. I would think that they're not going to revisit Buck Showalter.
Why not?
I would have no problem with it, but I don't think Steve Cohn is going to go that way. I don't know who the hot candidates are any longer. I guess Alex Cora.
Alex Cora's a good one.
And I think the likelihood, despite the relationship between Dave Dombrowski and Alex Cora, why in the world would the Phillies want to move on from Don Mattingly with the job he's done?
Yeah, they've been great. I had a quick Phillies one, so I guess I'll throw it in now. They're the first team in baseball to hit a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning of 3 consecutive games. Bryce Harper did it again last night for the Phillies as they first time ever a team has been. So they've been tied or trailing 9th inning, and they hit a home run to go ahead and
win the game
and take the lead. I mean they did
take the lead.
Yeah, just to take the lead in the 9th inning. But they did it 3 consecutive nights against the Nats. So the Nats are reeling a bit as they come to Baltimore. But yeah, the Phillies are playing very well. They didn't even have Kyle Schwarber this week because he's had a back spasm thing, so he hasn't played I think since Sunday. And he had a great weekend. He had the 3-homer game on Saturday night. Was that against the Mets? I think that was against. Who did they play last weekend? Yeah, and then he had another home run Sunday night. And then Schwarber's been out of the lineup, but hopefully he comes back for the sake of my fantasy team.
Yes, it was against the.
It was against New York.
Yeah.
Other news: more CBA proposals. Last week we were talking about the draft proposal from the on the side of the MLB about a proposed international draft and changing the age and a lot of different moving parts that we dove into last week. That could be some good, maybe some bad. It seems like the international draft has the most legs and adding some more structure to the international, at least acquisition of players, which I think could be a good thing. But then there was also the talk of, not drafting players in the domestic draft, not making high school players available, which would be a massive change. Yeah. So we'll see if that. I don't think the MLBPA is going to love that. We'll see. But they came away. They proposed another. The MLB owners and they came away with another proposal yesterday, and this time you referenced it earlier, Stan, and that is the cap on contracts, maximum of 5-year contracts. For free agents changing teams, 6 years if you want to. So say the Orioles hold Adley through the 2027 season, they could re-sign. They could offer him 6 years. I mean, I guess it would take effect immediately, right?
I don't see how the Players Association is going to agree to some type of limit on that.
When you're seeing, that's probably why the MLB comes with 5 years. So that way they're like, maybe we can do 8 years, so that way no one's getting a Juan Soto or a Shohei $700 million 10-year contract.
13 years.
Obviously, those contracts will be grandfathered
in. Those contracts are idiocy by the teams.
Yeah,
they again.
Right, I know.
They're dictating
upset,
what the player wants, not what's good for them.
Yeah,
Giving Albert Pujols like a 13-year contract when he was like 29 years old doesn't make a lot of sense. There aren't a lot of players that retain their value into their 40s.
Right, right. Unless you're Jamie Moyer or
what's that?
Unless you're Jamie Moyer.
Jamie Moyer's a rarity.
Okay, not a lot of Jamie Moyers out there.
No.
But so that is the latest, and I mean, it'd probably be some give and take there where the MLBPA
think he could help
just says
the Orioles
no.
now, Jamie Moyer? Is that what you're saying?
Do you think he could pitch into the 5th inning?
I think he could go 4.
You think he could go 4? Well, then that's all the Orioles need, really.
Yeah.
That's. And the MLBPA also proposed late last night. This had nothing. There was no kind of response or anything to the draft stuff or the contract stuff. It was just they decided to propose their own new idea for this new CBA, and they wanted a ban on individual player prop bets to help combat harassment from disgruntled gamblers.
Yeah,
that was their reasoning. Which, first of all, on the surface, banning individual player props. I mean, I think that's especially when we've had kind of issues, especially recently with players betting on, not just baseball, but we've talked about obviously Brendan Sorsby in college football, and
that guy
there's
will
been
never,
basketball.
That
obviously,
guy will never play in the NFL.
Sorsby.
There's no way in hell.
Would you think? I mean, there's apparently the NCAA has no power. Do you think maybe a team down the street should sign him to play college football this year?
College Park.
No. Closer.
Towson?
Literally, I can see it. Yeah, Towson.
Take Sorsby?
Yeah.
No.
Come on.
I think he's headed into.
Do you know how good that would make us?
I think
now.
I think he'd be heading to the Canadian Football League.
That's probably a good spot for him. You're not lying, Stan. Anyway, so that would ban bets.
I was right about Trevor Bauer that he would never pitch again.
That's a little
in the
different
leagues.
than the gambling
It's
thing, but
different.
yes,
It's different.
But yes, you're right. No more bets on like a player to hit a home run. Like I'm walking into the game tonight, I want to bet Samuel Basallo to hit a home run. No more of that. I want to bet on Trevor Rogers, to have 7 strikeouts. No more of that.
Now, who's proposing this?
This is the MLBPA.
The MLP.
Yes, the players.
Major League Baseball Players Association.
Yes, the players are proposing this one. Which, again, on the surface, I think kind of like it would get rid of those kind of first pitch, like the thing that got Emmanuel Clase and who was I forget who the other Cleveland pitcher was. Ortiz, was it? But yeah, it got Emmanuel Clase in trouble last year. Was the first pitch of the inning type.
He'll never pitch again in the major leagues.
You're probably right.
Yeah,
you're probably right. And that's kind of what the precedent should be. So yeah, it was crazy that Sorsby was even kind of coming close to. We'll see what happens with Sorsby. That's another. We could dive into that.
I love how he was going to get around the whole problem by going into supplemental draft.
Yeah,
and the supplemental draft has been canceled.
So that's your latest on the new CBA proposals from each party.
All right.
It was Stan on Monday. I'm not sure if you saw on Monday down in Miami.
Yeah.
That there was Bark of the Park night down at Lone Depot Park. And so the Miami the Marlins broadcast captured a great image here of a pup in the front here getting his parents, his owners to feed him a hot dog.
Right.
And you might see Stan in the background.
I smell something with the other dog.
Yeah, that other dog is he's just looking on, isn't he? He can't. He's watching this. He's watching that dog enjoy basically a full hot dog, and he's just watching. Nothing he can do about it. So that went viral. That went pretty viral on Monday night.
And those people had no clue.
Yeah, the owners. So the owners were like 2 seats over, and
right.
their dog was sitting
they're
there.
Just having a good time with their dog.
Yes. Well, yeah. They're
torturing.
Well, it's not their. Yeah. Well, that's not their dog. That's not
right.
their responsibility.
They're torturing this other dog.
But the Marlins went ahead and wanted to kind of try to make right of the situation.
So they got that dog a dog.
Yes. They put out a they put out a flyer to find this dog because they wanted to treat him to a really fun day at.
Did they send him a
Depot.
dog?
Did they send him? No. Well, no, they didn't hear about this until the rest of the internet, like later that night
right.
and Tuesday morning. But yeah, they put out a flyer. Find this dog. The Marlins would like to treat him to a dream day at Lone Depot Park.
Oh.
And they did. They found him. The owner did like a local news interview, and he was like, "Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I'll bring him back out." He was like, "I didn't even notice that he was watching and just kind of crying. He wasn't crying, but he was."
Did he get a dog?
I imagine he got something.
Okay.
I don't think he's gone back to the park yet, but it sounds like they're going to treat him to something, and I'm sure he'll have a.
That's a great.
I'm sure he'll have a good day. Yeah. So we go from gambling and managers getting fired. There are good things that happen in baseball.
Why don't we send him some dogs?
That would require work on my part, Stan.
Okay.
So I'll just be honest. I'll just be honest with you. I don't want to.
So that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear about Jazz Chisholm likes playing baseball with lollipops in his mouth?
No, I did not hear about.
I'll let. This was courtesy of John Boy. As they do it, they do a weekly interview of Aaron Boone each week, and apparently Booney was not aware that Jazz likes to play with lollipops, so they brought it up to him, and this is kind of how it played out. Oh, I muted it. Hold on.
Second time this year we've seen him play with a lollipop in his mouth. Is there anything that you care about there?
What are the analytics there?
Oh, yeah, that pisses me off.
Okay.
I didn't know about it until after the game. So he and I talked about that. That won't be going on.
Okay. So, yeah, we both got uncles coming out of the woodwork that just don't like that.
Second time? There was another time?
Yeah, in Boston when he was freezing cold with he took an at-bat with a lollipop in his mouth in Boston.
Yeah, that's not on that.
Jazz has a lollipop.
So how do you feel about that, Stan? Or are you on Booney's side here? Or?
The reason I don't like playing with a lollipop in your mouth, there's too much problem with safety. In other words, if a weird play happens and somebody slides into third base, if he's playing third base or second base, and the thing goes in his mouth, he could choke on the thing.
Well, he's a professional athlete. You expect him to have some athleticism, I guess.
Okay.
So. Well, guess what? Later that night, Jazz ended up coming through. I think he hit a go-ahead home run or a game-tying home run in the 6th inning.
Did he hide those in Giancarlo Stanton's pants?
The
lollipops.
He might have. He's wearing a different teammate's pants every night. I think. One night he was wearing Trent Grisham's pants, and the next night he's probably wearing Judge's pants. And either way, they don't fit him. He doesn't. They can't fit him. That's the only the rule. He can't wear pants that fits him.
Okay.
But he did hit a home run, and Aaron Boone addressed it again.
And you, that Lil Wayne lollipop is playing right now.
It is not lost on me. Yeah, the lollipop kid came through tonight in a big way, so that was good. He can have all the lollipops he wants now, so we're good.
So there you go.
Right.
So he is. I think he went on to say that he can't take him out to second base with him. He doesn't want him to take the lollipop out to second base, but he can continue to have lollipops.
All
so
right.
that was
That's the end of this week.
No, there's one more, Stan, because it's another week. That means there was another weird base running thing involving Pete Crow Armstrong.
Okay.
This was also in that vaunted Mets the end of Carlos Mendoza's Mets managing career. But
did this happen last night?
No, this happened, I think, Tuesday night, I want to say.
Tuesday night in the night game of the doubleheader.
Yeah, so Pete Crow, so it's a 3-2 count here.
Okay.
And at the bat, Michael Bush is at bat, and this is going to be ball 4, Stan, but Pete Crow Armstrong's on first, and he attempts to steal second.
Okay.
So we'll let it play out here, and Craig Counsell is eventually going to get ejected after all of this. So it was a walk. So he gets second. He's entitled to second base.
Right.
So he touches. You see that he touched it first.
Right.
The Mets. This was a good play by Carlos Mendoza. They challenge this.
Right.
And
you mean he comes off the bag?
Yes, he comes off the bag and the tag stays on. So the Mets. So you see.
Challenge
so he's safe. So he's safe. He was tagged out. The throw beat him, but he's safe because it was ball 4. So he gets second base. But then he comes off again. Right there, I think. And the tag is. The tag was still on. I think I might have.
I think that's a terrible call to call him out.
Well, the Mets challenge it. They call him out, and that is the rule. And Craig Counsell was he got ejected because I think he got it. Yeah, he got ejected because he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. So Pete Crow Armstrong was out on the base paths once again.
I can't believe it either.
On ball 4, he was thrown out at second.
This week in the rest of baseball, a quick look at the MLB power rankings as we will move from week 14 to 15. This week, the Los Angeles Dodgers are number 1. The Yankees are number 2. The Phillies are number 3.
Even after losing 2 out of 3 to the Orioles?
Atlanta is number 4. Milwaukee's number 5. Yes, to answer your question, they've come back to prove me right because they swept a red-hot Minnesota Twins team in Minnesota. Dodgers will stay at number 1. The Yankees are 2-2 this week. They will most likely move to 4 behind the Philadelphia Phillies, who are about 5 games behind or 6 games behind Atlanta. But they've played much better baseball over the last 35 games. Phillies are going to be number 2. Milwaukee, 3-0 this week after a sweep of the Reds, will most likely move to 3. Yankees 4, Atlanta all the way to 5. Okay, and the Cubs will move up. They're 4-0 this week, and they were number 10, so they'll probably move to 6 or 7. And the San Diego Padres, who swept the Atlanta Braves at home in San Diego, will move probably to 7 or 8 this week.
Where are the managerless Mets?
The managerless Mets are 25.
Okay.
And they may move to 26 or 27. Okay?
Okay.
That's a look, and those are powered by Warnken Law, 443 results, or go to warnkenlaw.com, WARNKEN.com, to find out about all the things that they can do for you if you've been injured in an accident in Baltimore or the state of Maryland.
You back on Monday?
We'll be back on Monday at about 4 o'clock. Ross, Luke, and I will be back. Okay?
You had a special guest on this week's show, though.
We had Ken Singleton.
Yeah, people should still check that one out. PressBox, Facebook, and or YouTube. Go check out those always Stan's conversations with Luke or Ken or Ross or whoever's joining them.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Again, pick up the new issue of PressBox. It's out now. Magic in the Booth, a profile of Kevin Brown written by Dave Lomonico, and that issue will be out for about 7 weeks. We will be back next Friday.
No, we'll be off next Friday.
We'll be off next Friday. I'm sorry. We'll be off next Friday. We'll be back in 2 weeks although you won't be here.
I won't be here, so yeah, we're figuring
We're working
that out.
on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Glenn and Griffin back on Tuesday.
And we're also going to be on 2 o'clock. I hear about
2 o'clock.
almost an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. That's going to do it for today, and we'll talk later. Bye. Have a great weekend.
Wait a minute. It's Friday? It's time for Stan the Fan, Chief Grand Poobah Man, and the Friday Baseball Show. Griffin Bass helps bring more class to the Friday Baseball Show. They'll talk best games, Dan Charles is his name on the Friday Baseball Show.